Hey everybody, Big Toad here. I'm going to start a new painting today. And I've done 4 sketches in my sketchbook in order to develop the composition. And that's what I'm showing you right now in my sketchbook. The one I use at home when I'm at home working on is a 9x12. So I can get 4 really nice size sketches in there. And I know a lot of people use smaller ones. When I go in the field, I do use a smaller sketch. I started up here in the upper left. And what I'm after is I'm after a trail that goes through the woods with an objective of reaching this sunshiny meadow at the end. Now, we're not going to actually see the meadow as much as I'm going to try to imply it. I want you to feel like when you're at this trail and you look up, you've been walking through the mountains, walking down this trail. Now you see this sunshiny meadow up there. And maybe it's a cool morning and you're really looking forward to the sunshine, to warm you up. And that's what I'm going to be working with, that feeling when I begin to paint this. And will I achieve that? I don't know, but that's going to be my driving force, my driving feeling is making it to that warm meadow. Not that I haven't enjoyed the peaceful climb up this trail, but that warm meadow would be a great place to stop, sit down on a rock or side of the hill and soak in the sun, rest, and enjoy the mountain scenery. So that's what I'm trying to do here. So there's going to be a lot of dirt up this trail. And I got a lot of boulders and rocks that force you to meander back and forth up this trail, and off on each side, and some sticking out here in the middle, and then trees. And then the sun's going to be coming in from the lower left and diagonal up towards the upper right. So my first drawing, I started in on that. It's loose. Got the idea. I've got the rocks. I've got the stones. I threw in some shadows and shading. I wasn't quite convinced there. Rather than overwork that, I went to the next one. And that's part of it. Don't overwork the first one. Don't overwork them, because you're going to look back at the first one here. I look back at the first one. So what do I want to do? I want to move this end over, the trail end. So I moved it over closer to the upper right corner, and I working from that, I put in the nice big trees. I got the shadows from the sun. It's going to cut across this trail. So I've indicated that. I've notated different colors, yellows and greens here, that there's some green moss color in the rocks or on the ground. And so I can bring green here. And, but I don't really, I'm kind of indicating maybe there's a big boulder here on the left with some brush. I'm getting closer though. I feel like it flows better diagonal rather than up towards the center. So I come back down here in the lower left and I try it again. And now you can see my strokes are getting a little more confident. My shapes are taking more of a rigid, sketched in look, because I'm feeling the composition a little better. You can see these strokes here on the left side coming down to the trail. I feel like it's a little slope down to the trail is what I'm after here, where the slopes from where these trees here are in the ground, and you're just going to see the bases of them. And so again, you're guided through the trail by the rocks. And so I'm beginning to emphasize that slope there to give it more than just a flat look. Not that a flat look wouldn't be bad, but and maybe I could taper it off down this hill. Maybe I could show a taper off down the hill that way. And that might not be a bad idea, actually, to go back. See how I'm just talking through this. I'm already thinking if I go back to this first one, I can make it look like the hill tapers away, away and down, like it's we're on the mountain drops this direction. That's not a bad idea. It drops to the left. Right here, I've got it to where there's a hill coming down in here and kind of funneling you into the trail. I think both would work. Now let's go to the fourth one, and I've got again more confidence in my line work. I'm rather than not knowing what's back here, I put a lot of trunks for some smaller trees and bushes. So you're seeing a lot of trunks in there. I'm indicating the flow of my brush strokes. I want the brush strokes in the trees to go against the flow of the painting to create emphasis. And so these lines I've got indicating the slope, I'm going to bring my brush strokes down the slope where the dirt is and then start to curl it up towards the meadow. And the real emphasis on that curving up is going to be on from the left down into the trail, because on the right side you're going to get more of the shorter. You're not going to have as much flow. It's going to naturally flow up from the right side into the following the edges of this, with a few spots like between the rocks. Maybe I'll create the illusion of the brush strokes coming in and curling around. But I'm going to use the brush strokes to create a river, like I've talked about before, create a river of brush strokes and color and texture that guides me up the trail into that sunny meadow. And I'm gonna create some sunshine up here, not too bright, but enough that you know it's different. Whatever's up there is different. And so I think I will go with this. I do like the idea. I'm going to save this drawing here, upper right where I started, and maybe build a composition where this trail, a different trail, is on the side of a mountain and the mountain's falling away from us here. That could be a cool effect. So I like that. But for this one, I'm going to do this because I like the way I've designed these brush strokes to come in here and create a pathway, a trail right up to the meadow. The greenery and stuff behind these two main trees is going to be broader, less structured brush strokes. And these rocks, I will like this one here and these two up here, I will probably have broader, less defined brush strokes. And they're not going to look right until the rest of it, because I want and broader brush strokes down here to begin this funnel, to begin it. And then the brush strokes will become more refined and specific as I get up towards the top, because that's where I want you to go. I want you to see the big, broad brush strokes and follow this pathway to the top. It's kind of natural to enter a drawing from the bottom. So that's my thinking. That's my planning. That's how I went about this. I've had this idea, just didn't know how to pull it off until I began to sketch it. Been thinking about it for a couple of days, so I sketched it out. And so I'm going to go with number 4 here, and I'm not going to draw. I'm going to sketch this into my my board with my brush only. I'm not going to use pencil. It's a landscape. I want it to flow freely. So however my brush defines it, that's where I'm going to go. I'm going to let my tools do a lot of the work for me rather than overemphasizing with the mind and structure here. But this has feel for me. This feels like a flow. This feels like a forest trail. This feels like it's gonna, I want it to flow uphill. So that's the effect I'm after. Okay, so that's my planning process of how I'm going to go about a oil painting. If you catch my next video, I'm actually going to paint this scenery here that I've just designed. So for now, this is the Big Toad, and I am out.